And he was caught by his own brother, by the intelligent people who brought him. And Vani came to my house, he sent to me, and when they were investigating him, he had assigned himself to the nation. They were deploying troops by group on the base, and they caught him. There were arms that we didn't issue him that were in his house to attack from there. His own brother was General Vani, who caught him. I only took my tape recorder to record what was being said. And when that was done, the investigation by the elder was done. Those men did not deny. He said he just went there to just be familiar with what the people were planning against us. But who assigned you there? He could not say. So I said, Vani, if I had been the one that caught this man, maybe he would say, we had some small problem between all this. That's why I did this. But say, it was you. You're investigating. Let me know the result. So I went to my house. And they investigated, and then Vani decided that the man should die by firing squad. So his own brother was killed by firing squad by his own orders.
And his girlfriend,
I don't know about the girlfriend. I know about Vani that was order executed by Vani for betraying us and bringing more people on the base that were not part of us. And for seeing more weapons in his house that were not issued to him.
Was Moses Vani and Samuel Vani also brothers to Oliver Vani?
Yeah.
So the three Vanis are brothers?
Blood brothers. Moses Vani, Oliver Vani, Wilma Vani, and Samuel Vani.
Okay.
They all died in combat.
All of them are dead?
All died in combat.
Okay. Also in 1991, two Liberian journalists, Isaac Bantu, who was the local stringer for the BBC, and Dan Brown, who at the time was a newscaster at ELBC or LBS, visited your base at Cardwell, and they allegedly got in trouble and they were made to drink dirty water. Can you comment?
I'm not aware of that. We protected journalists, including Isaac Bantu. The only man that I wanted to deal with, and I think I did some of my releasing with Isaac Bantu, because there was something that was wrong. They were taking people from Don Bosco and saying they were going to train them as Ulimo or so. And when I got the information, I called press conference. Isaac Bantu had come earlier. I gave him a beautiful gown, which he requested for to use in America. I gave him some money, until he wanted assistance. But he suppressed my release. When I called the journalists international when they came, and I told them what I wanted to say, what happened, and so forth, or other matters, when they got out of my presence, he suppressed it. He told them to publish because he was the press union president. He refused for them to publish it. Oh, you refuse, you eat my money, you took my beautiful gown. Okay? So the next day he came, he didn't know why I was in my mouth. When he came, I told him, you suppressed my release, you took my money, you took my gown, I will tie you. So I tie him. Why you eat my food, you take my money, take my gown, then you say, man, probably why I have to say. Why you suppress my release? That's all I know about.
Was it during the time he drank dirty water?
No, they didn't drink dirty water. I said, I'm going to tie the man on the base. And they tied him, he was just sitting in my sitting room for 7 hours, tied.
Okay.
Because you see, these people have no fear. You see a man in a war. You come, he will receive you. He give you gift. He take care of you. You need a press to explain your part of position when something goes wrong. And you tell the press not to publish it. And you want it to give you $200 US for the press for that day. That means you're fool like that. So when he came out the next day, I tie him. Proper time.
Okay. Please, can we? Please, audience, thank you very much.
You see, madam, I like the press people, though they have their own shortcomings. I am the one who opened the first press in this country during the war. The Touchlight. I financed it. So I could not be the same person against the press. But the press, that man offended me seriously. So I show you my anger.
Okay. Also, Mr. Witness, around 1991, early 1992, there was a wave of grenade attacks in Monrovia, people were throwing grenades into people's homes, into shops and other places. And one popular incident was the incident of grenade attack that led to the death of Larry Milton. And people were saying that it was the INPFL fighters
That was,
doing that.
Madam, that was mere propaganda perpetrated against the INPFL by the Soros Moja group. Let me tell you something. Larry Milton was a good guy. I met him at BDC and I said, come to join me. Come and join me, and he did. He obeyed me. All his father's property that were in car were under my control, all in tight. Beds, everything was in tight. He came and opened, everything was in tight. But Larry Milton started having problems after that. Not with me. Whenever Larry Milton was with me, anybody who offended us, broke the warehouse to steal, Larry Milton would say, don't do this, don't do this. He would always beg. So he was a man begging, interceding for people. That one we know. But he had a problem with the AFL. He told me that George Dwell used to tell him. He met me on Benson Street, but when he passed that supermarket, I was going to buy something when he came to see me. He saw my car, he came, he said, you have been tailed by George Dwell and a group. I said, what happened? If you know you have been tailed, then come back to the base. The war is not over yet, though. And before then, he used to go Carroll Street, you left the AFL. You were the training G3 on our side. You left them. You think they will be happy? They won't be happy. You left them, then we captured the leader who is today a question. You think they will be happy with you to be exposing yourself like that? You go alone, nobody got know nothing. He explained to me he had a problem. I asked him, what was it? And he told me. He got some properties on Camp Johnson Road, his father. And the AFL was occupying those properties. And he told them to court to ask them out of those houses. When the war was not over here, when disarmament had not taken place. You understand? This is where he probably came. He had no problem with me. But I was shocked when there's a Lebanese Liberian boy that was with me, the constructor. So I ordered that they should arrest the boy. That he's the one who bombed Larry Milton. How will I bomb Larry Milton? Even the man who was facing my Mercedes Benz, Mr. Miller, was with Larry Milton. What did Larry Milton do to my group or to me that I will have to kill him? It was not the IMP that did it. But we were falsely accused. And when this boy was arrested and put in the police cell, the director of police then started beating the boy to confess, man, the corporate doesn't need. He the one do it. So that Sawyer can get a chance to deal with me. That's what they were doing here. So the report came to me. I wrote the ECOMO. I appealed to them to take Striker and the group and the 2 men they had there in jail, that they were beating them constantly to lie on me. So let the ECOMO take these people to their cell. That got no confidence in the Sawyer government. I already pulled out. And you are looking for a way to incriminate me. So they were in jail there in the ECOMO jail for so long. Nobody can prove. Nobody. It was not true. The mean that came out was George Dwell. That's the mean I know today. With a group of people that were living in his father's house, those he took to court. So when there were no evidence against these guys, Honorable Philip Banks, minister, called me to go 6 o'clock in the night to the Justice Ministry because they were working throughout the day and throughout that evening to go and sign for Striker and his group. Now what happened? These politicians, look, I'm facing problem but God on my side. Do you know many of them have gone? Ellen Johnson, our president, is not somebody that can keep, if you take your foolishness to us, say the person want to overthrow, she will expose you. Many people went and say, why you do a Prince Johnson in your government? Many people, I know them. My people will now come here. We in democratic dispensation. I'm a senator representing the biggest country, second to Maserati, the biggest country, the richest country, where I will go and diamond a mountain. I'm the most senior senator. You are a appointee. If you got any constituency, why the people can elect you? Every time you want to be in government, you're chairman, president, chairman. If you're not interim president, then you there 1 year. Me, I went to my people, and they elected me. You see how much I'm loved by my people? Why are there constituencies? Can they go and be elected? Then they tell the president, don't travel with the mayor, bro. That is, are you going to tell the president? When I want to browse, are you carrying me? When I'm traveling, are you carrying me? So they must just stop the dirty propaganda like I repeat to the TRC. Because, like Joe Wally rightly said, there are thousands of people in Ivory Coast there who got guns, deadly weapons, and those guys are not coming here tomorrow to ask you for a job. But if you take care of the soldiers that are within your domain who have disarmed to you, if you help them to provide jobs, you will diffuse whatever they may be planning back there. You can pay visit to Bagbo many times, Bagbo can come many times. That does not stop him from keeping them there. He will keep them there for his own protection. And he will never know when they come here. He will keep them there because he wants to be president. He wants to contest. They are there. So, the politicians who are joining the wagon, or the old lady that God has chosen, they must not rock this boat as they rock their own boat. Because if that interim government level was competent, according to a degree, then there will be no need to change in the put the open one. If the open one were all right, there will be no need to put Sangawuru. If Sangawuru were fine, there will be no need for collective presidency. If the collective presidency were fine, there will be no need to be other changes that came after that. Nobody is perfect. But you tamper with people's lives with lies. It's not good. That's why when I went to that commission, governor commission, they were quoting, when you blast as they almost look for you. You own that you can't go teach or you can't go to the farm. You won't be on the political scene every time with job. It's a fact. I was somebody go to president and say, why you doing Prince Johnson? So she told them, say, he was elected. To tell you that the woman is not an evil woman.
Okay, Mr. Witness, before I proceed with my questionings, I would just like you to understand that we will ask certain questions because of clarification.
No, I know. I will answer you.
Okay, thank you very much. Is it true also that one of the reasons you have problem with Dr. Sawyer is because when the war happened, you came across a lot of money, and then when he changed the currency from JJ to Liberty, you lost?
What money did I come across? What money? Which bank did I break? If I were greedy for money, all the banks. If I'm most especially the central bank with the $8.7 million, we had a key. I could enter and taking the money. What you do to me? The money they stole and bought houses in America, and today they are here, the governor commission chairperson. He was just extraordinarily wicked. That after we lost, we wasted blood to bring that kind of man, that you were able to print money thinking that we are thieves. And started taking my boys and money from them, small, petty money. When somebody take 500 Liberian JJ, when they go to the bank to change it, because in this area you were using Liberty, they will steal it from there and put it in a container. He was using Ecomo to deal with my men. And that's why they went to Twitter and brought octopus. Because I could not control it. And I became victim. House divided against the second, I stand. So I had to write to Ecomo for help the body. Because I couldn't find my own ball at tree. And I couldn't look at them killing me or any of my family. So I went to Ecomo.
Mr. Witness.
But I didn't come across any money. The bank, the Banga Agriculture Bank, when I heard one night there was a blast on that building, and they called that my own man sending RPG to make hole to enter. We executed that man. We didn't come to steal money. We did not come to steal your money.
Mr. Witness, when you were on the Cardwell base, there were a lot of women who lived on the base, allegedly your women or your wives. Can you please tell us the circumstances surrounding those women on the base? How many of them were there? Were you married to all of them? Were they taken there forcibly, or did you get a consent before they went there to live with you? And what was the general living condition?
I would, with all due respect, whether I got 50 wives or this is my privacy. I didn't take anybody by force.
So a
The
follow-up.
peacekeepers were in town. If I have forced anybody, and the peacekeepers were always on my base. And diplomatic institutions were always coming on my base. And they were not tied like chicken or goats. They would have gone their way. But it was not the case. Conditions were perfect. We have food. We have international contact. No revolutionary stage. We all support us. The uniforms you saw me wearing, the soldier hat, all the different handsets, didn't come from heaven and drop. They were issued by people who believe in our struggle. And I cannot call their names.
So these women, can you give us an estimate of how many of them were there on the base?
Pardon me?
Can you give us an estimate of how many women were there on the base?
I had a battalion of commandos comprising of women.
The civilian women.
No civilian. No civilian. So all were trained in commando tactics.
Including Mrs. Amy Collins, who was there, who was
Amy Collins was a volunteer because IMPFL established volunteer service to clean the street day to provide food for the public and other things, and to take care of our documents to communicate with international institutions that were monitoring the affairs in Liberia. So she was a volunteer. She was not my wife, only a secretary.
Okay.
Not even a girlfriend. It's surprising for you to know that.
Okay. Mr. Johnson, you also had children on the base.
Yeah, I got 12 children, my own children, before the war and then after the war and now. I'm in Christian and that's God's blessing.
Okay, besides your own children, did you have some children there who didn't
I
have?
3,000 children abandoned, wayward children, or the children that were brought to my base for feeding because we had all the facilities. We registered the orphanage with the UNICEF. Okay. And so they were taken care of, and I make sure that across there under the suppressive sustained fire during the outpost, across there in aluminum boat, or to UNICEF. That's the record. I may save all the children. Nobody got wounded.
I beg your indulgence, but I will come back again to the situation of the women. I know you said it's your private matter, but I'm just curious, and I would just like some clarification.
No, because you see, madam, we all honor and due respect. No woman has come here to say, preacher, took me by force. Nobody has complained that I took them by force. So you just ask a general question or a speculation, then I cannot answer speculation.
Okay. These women who live with you on your car world base, did they have their own rooms? Did they have doors to their rooms where they had some privacy, or they had cloth tied to their doors?
Commandos live on bunk beds. They were all on bunk beds. I thought they were soldiers.
Okay.
These are people who, among men and women, decided to join the struggle, the revolution. And they were trained in military tactics.
Mm-hmm. Okay. At the time of the late President Doe's capture, there was a fleet of vehicles, presidential motorcade, a lot of
those vehicles were government properties, and we turned them all over to Dr. Sawyer, along with the $8.7 million document that show you that the money in the bank. We turned everything over.
So how many vehicles you thought? Or do you
I can't remember today, but as many as were captured, the SS vehicle, the escort vehicle, the limousine, official car that were given to Sawyer, and I'm told he sold it to Nigeria. They took it to Nigeria.
Okay. Please, audience, can we get some quiet? Okay. Mr. Witness, you were bodyguard to the late Thomas Kuwankwa during the time of...
Well, most people say so. We were my cousins, so I often go there out of my own desire, post myself for a day or two, so I could get a small thing from Kuwankwa, that's all.
Okay.
I was not officially assigned.
You are now officially assigned?
No.
Okay. But were you with him in 1981 during the time of Thomas Wesson's execution?
I was in Monrovia. I was not with him. I was in Monrovia.
What do you know about that whole Wesson incident?
It was a saga that I won't believe. It was a phantom coup designed by the junta itself, and I regretted why Kwankwa had to endorse that.
Okay, my colleague was talking to you about scorpions. Is it true that you kept live scorpions in a jar?
Scorpion is my friend. It's my emblem. From the Libyan desert, I slept in the desert full of scorpions. It's my emblem.
So you had a scorpion?
Red scorpion belong to Commando Special Forces.
And Mr. Witness, you're also a religious man. You're also a religious man.
I'm ordained evangelist.
You are an ordained.
Invite me to your church and you hear the word of God flow through. It's true.
And is your favorite song "His Eyes Are on the Sparrow"?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about the song and
you see,
what's
if God
the connection?
can keep his eyes on the sparrow, he wouldn't fail to keep his eyes on me.
That's your favorite song?
Yeah.
You mentioned that the late President Doe was embalmed for 25 years.
Yes.
Was there any specific reason why you wanted him?
Well, we wanted to keep him embalmed like that, and for generations to come to see this beautiful grave. But I mentioned it briefly. I didn't end with that. But when I went to Nigeria, when they say I was cannibal, I was eating Doe, so there was no way to keep him. They bust the vault, and the foreign journalists saw that, took the photograph, as I earlier said, and my deputy decided, because he was not only my deputy, but he was also my big brother. He was older than I am. So whatever he said as an advice, most I took, others I discretionary.
Who was this?
Use my own.
Who was this you referring to, your deputy?
Samuel Vani.
Samuel Vani, oh, okay.
He was a great man.
But could you have reburied the corpse of those so that you said you cremated the body?
Yeah, he did.
Finally.
He did.
Samuel Vani
Yeah, he
cremated
did.
those
He
bodies.
said he don't want two more graves. He can have two graves.
Where was Samuel Doe buried originally?
Pardon me? On Catwell base, alongside my general. And in fact, when I left to go to Nigeria, as I said one thing happened here, that's a crimination. And the other one, when I left, the same government of Sawyer said, hidden so much weapon in the grave. And they went and dug everything and used the bulldozer to remove everything. They didn't see anything. They just broke the bones of my commanding general, whom I buried side by side by Doe.
You mean originally or after you cremated the body?
There were two graves there, Doe and my commanding general, Imaiwa Goma.
Which part of your base?
When you go into it's on Cowell. You wouldn't know. I won't sit down to describe.
Is it true that you kept his skull as a trophy? You used to show people Samuel Doe's skull?
I was amazed when I saw what I saw in magazines. They gathered so many skulls. Look here, there were war, battle among forces, between forces. Tell people attacked me for not joining them. And Ulimo came in and Law came in, and not Law, what was it? Is it LPC? Blackberry came in, and their bodies were all on Kawa base. Soldiers that were killed were left unburied, and they decay. So if somebody went and took head, skulls of those people and packed them and said, Prince Johnson base, are you insinuating that these are the people my troops killed? If they were the people my troops killed, were they civilian brutally killed innocent people? Or is it combat? Because in combat of the camp we fought, there were bodies all over. Soldier bodies were all over. Even in my own compound when they came in, my soldiers. Even Taylor boys who attacked me, and some of them we told them to go by shooting them too. The bodies were all over there. It was after we had left the country that ECOMO Honor Sawyer administration went and started packing scores. But these scores were not seen on the base before when you were there eating my food. They started packing scores to damage my name internationally. and to promote their own gains. For what? The scores you saw, they were the scores of soldiers, or they may have been the scores of innocent people that the bullet killed and nobody buried them. But they were not people that were massacred. No. If I get a cover today, they put me in the air. I'm well known and well respected, even with no guns. That means when I was there, I did well.
Okay, you spoke about the Michael Doe incident, but I wasn't too clear as to where exactly you said he was killed. Was he killed? You said
Hotel Africa. We were under serious attack by Taylor forces starting from Banjo.
So was he killed in the hotel itself or outside the grounds of the hotel?
He was killed at Hotel Africa. Wherever he was killed, it was anger that killed him, believing that he actually brought other people. Because the war that was taking place, he are going to take refuge, he had it in a hotel.
How was he killed? Who pulled the trigger?
Well, I can't say he was killed. He was killed thinking he was a traitor. He was betrayed by his own employee, Anna Bradley. If you were in a position, we were in facing war and our people died by bullets, and somebody said that person was the one who brought them. And we know very well that God's being a strong supporter of Taylor, of course, Michael Doe won't be an exception. But the truth so is, though it could be that he was supporting Taylor with guns, but he was not part of this evasion that they brought to Banjo Beach. She lied on him because he wanted a job.
Okay, Mr. Witness, you just explained to us that the circumstances surrounding Mr. Doe's killing was an accident. It was not something that was intentional.
Well, it was an accident.
Did you kill him or did one of your men kill him?
I can tell you we were facing combat. The important thing to know is to the acceptance that Michael Doe was killed by my troops. Only the suspicion that he brought other people. But that was not the case.
He was killed by your troops in the Hotel Africa building?
Well, when the gunfire started and the Annan brother reported that he had brought other people, and we saw the wounded coming, and we saw the action on the battlefield, and they are ordered to go there to him. And he got shot in there because they thought he was hiding. The story seemed very true when we were told. They were later on, the employees of the very Hotel Africa began to say there had been trouble between Michael Doe and this woman for job. Then my ear began to draw closer to here. And I ordered that they should bring the woman, that one, leave us and rescue her quickly to take her to Donayaro to go to Nigeria. You know, it's sometimes like, on that tense military operation, we don't have time to investigate gun shooting. People die. And they say, this person is a collaborator. What do you do? Sometimes things go wrong before you get to know it's late. It's like the Ecomo Alpha Jet, after taking Freetown, when a group of families came out to dance in jubilation of the recapture of Freetown, the Ecomo dropped a cluster bomb and killed all the people there. Were you responsible? It's missing target. They mistook the people for enemy. But their intelligence on the ground should have told them that no enemy was in town. They people you kill, that's civilians. They would have informed them long before they dropped the cluster bomb. Okay. So in war, mistakes happen. Sometimes somebody can have old score to settle with people, and they will lie to you and say, the person who carry my people do, like that. But when you take action, because we got no place to jail people because the action on the ground is tense. We regret the incident, definitely. We told the family. Because he was not involved in what they say he was involved in.
So
but it was Anna Bradley.
You met his family already?
Well, the daughter flew from America and came to Dr. Salif, may his soul rest in peace, and the environment I went there, he too, I explained to her what happened. And I think other people I know, I told the family. But I wonder why the girl didn't tell the mother or the woman who sent the letter. Because it was accidental.
What do you know about the killing of Nathaniel Mongley Kerper and his son, Gongri Kerper?
I don't know anyone called Nathaniel.
What about Gongri Kerper?
We don't know Kerper, no. Why were they killed?
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Witness.
Oh.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thank you very much, Mr. Witness. Senator Johnson.
Who's that, Brother Steer?
That's right.
How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
Pretty good.
Before I go into my main body of questions, I perhaps would just want to follow up on two things. One on the death of Mr. Michael Doe, but before that, I would talk about some comments that you made recently before coming to TRC and your own statements here today. As I listened to you very closely, talking about your encounter with the late General Kuengba and the failed invasion of 1985 or abortive coup attempt, however one may call it, you narrated quite a great deal. But nowhere in your statement or in your testimony did you give any indication that you were with General Kuengba around the vicinity of the mansion.
I was not at the mansion. I was at the radio station.
In the vicinity of the mansion. That means that from the police station, university, foreign ministry.
No, I didn't know. I talked about the Vima tribe that early morning when the sporadic
Please, silence.
As I was saying, sir.
Wait, I come in. Silence, please, ladies and gentlemen. Do not disrupt the proceedings. Please. We beg you, you're forcing our hands to do what we don't want to do. And these hearings will go on for a good while. We don't want to deprive the public. We don't want to discriminate and decide who should come in and who shouldn't come in. We don't want to say people should come by invitation only. We beg you, you're forcing us to do what we don't want to do. Mr. Witness, sorry for the interruption.
No, go ahead.
Yes, as I was saying, I was in Banga. I moved to Banga in 1984, It did not leave there until April 1990.
But Honorable Commissioner,
War came. So I was never in Ghana. I was never in Ghana.
Honorable Commissioner,
Yes, sir.
I will, with all due respect, ask that you restrict your question to what my narration has been.
I hope
Because if we go into what you are talking, it's an argument that will disrupt the process.
we're not in an
Because
argument.
you, the Moja group, broke one by killing here. You are the one had that coup in the coup, which I explained.
We're not in an argument.
And you are one of those who
we are trying
accuse himself
we are
on this
trying,
commission.
we are trying to illuminate.
But because I did not say it, doesn't mean that I don't know my right.
We are trying to illuminate aspects of our history for the benefit of our posterity.
If you don't have questions, don't ask. No, the children come on now. Okay.
Can we have a moment of silence in here? Can we have a moment of silence in here? Ladies and gentlemen, these hearings are meant for our benefit. Your only participation is to sit and listen. You are not part of the argument, and in fact, we don't intend it to be an argument. Like I said, you are stretching the commission to adopt stringent measures to ensure that its hearings are conducted in quietude, in dignity, with respect for the process and the witness on the stand. We beg your indulgence, please, please keep your opinions to yourself. When we are out of here, argue out there, not in the hall. This attitude is disruptive and it shows disrespect for the witness on the stand and for all of us who have gathered here for a very genuine national purpose. We're begging you again, please. You are all up here. This place is overcrowded. We should have shut the door after we had the CCF field. But because you show enthusiasm and interest, the security people say for peace sake, let everybody come in. Now you have come and you are disrupting. Your very presence over here is threatening to us, but we can do it because you are interested. And now you go into the extra. You are disrupting. You don't want the process to flow smoothly. We're begging you, respect yourself and respect us and respect the witness. We're begging you. Don't make us do what we don't want to do. Sorry again, Mr. Witness.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Mr. Witness, for the interruption. This is not intended to be an argument. Now, if I should move on, there was a time somewhere in late 1990, early 1991, when the president of Burkina Faso, Blaise Compaoré, in an interview with Jeune Afrique magazine, confirmed that he has sent a battalion of Burkinabe paracommandos to assist the MPFL. As a matter of fact, in that particular publication, there was a picture of an armored vehicle, and standing by the armored vehicle were some people who looked like what we call Tuaregs, like Arab-looking like people in that particular article. Were you aware at the time that Burkinabe troops had been dispatched to assist Mr. Taylor at that time?
Honorable Commissioner, I have broken away long before then, so I have no idea.
were you aware at any point in time where, according to some witnesses who have come before us, that Mr. Sirleaf was present at military parades? Were you aware of any point at a time engagement with MPF?
No, Honorable Commissioner, I don't know our president to be a revolutionary, a tough woman referred to as Iron Lady. There's truth and reconciliation, or you call thematic institutional public hearings, requires that individuals come to explain their story. I cannot explain for anybody, but the Iron Lady has a meaning, and that meaning must be told. My name is Yedu. Yedu means the man is on full alert. The man is ready. The man is not sleeping. The man is dressed. So whatever we are going to do to that man is aware. That's the meaning of my name. So let our mother come, and I'm so glad that she has consented to come before the TRC. And those who are talking all of the things on the radio, they know plenty about what they are talking. The good thing is the old man says she will come. So Liberians are waiting to hear her story. But in my opinion, there is nothing wrong that I believe that Mrs. Sally Johnson had done to this country or in this country to anyone. She is a revolutionary who fought dictatorship. I fought dictatorship. She fought dictatorship. All of us, including you, Stewart, or Communist Stewart, we fought dictatorship. And all of us are on board right now. In this government, we should make it right. I cannot be angry with anybody or anything with the offending, because we are all in one book who wanted to see fair play, justice, equality, peace, and stability. So those who, people even told me, they call me, I receive more call every day. When you go call the woman, all that print Johnny will go tell the truth. Look here. I thought restricting my narration to my involvement. The old man will come, she will explain. I also pray that Harold Greaves will come. But I have no knowledge of Mr. Sirleaf's military involvement. I don't know how to be a strong political figure who fought every dictator in this country at home and abroad. And if at the peak of the revolution, where mere political activities could not help the system, could not help remove the dictatorship, if at the peak of the making of the decision for military option, whether she was part and parcel of it, she has to explain. How can I explain for her? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, in your statement, in reacting to statements by Mr. Herman Cohen, that at one point he tried to negotiate the exit of Mr. Taylor, of President Doe to Sierra Leone, and that Mr. Taylor was providing the corridor, but upon seizing the Buja Island, you closed that corridor, and in attempts to discuss the matter with you, you appeared incoherent and confused. At what point in time did you encounter the Americans or American officialdom? Let me put it that way. Was it before that meeting with Mr. Herman Cohen, or was it?
I have been in contact long before that time.
Can you give us some details of that contact?
I think I did. The Americans have always contacted during the crisis Taylor, AFL, and Prince Johnson. Not out of evil motive, but to control. Like I told you, be in contact with me, safe situation. When I took my missile on Ducal Palace to bomb the mansion, I was told, don't do that. So the civilians that were there were safe.
So were you in contact at the time you were coming to Monrovia, or it was upon arrival in Monrovia?
I called the Americans in Bombers and used the radio, company radio, to let them know that I have broken away from Charles Taylor, and this is my name, Independent National, to seize power and install interim government, and Taylor was coming to seize the hold.
Now, Mr. Taylor had on previous occasions, I think, if I recall correctly, can we have it quiet up there, please? If I recall correctly, Mr. Taylor, I think Mr. Woyu at one point has said that the Americans are airlifted you and brought you into Monrovia and provided you with arms and ammunition. Is there any truth to that assertion?
Well, when Tom Woyu comes here, ask him to confirm it.
From your side?
I have no knowledge.
Oh, thank you.
That's why I said you should ask Cohen too.
Now, you mentioned that you went into an agreement with President Doe.
Yes, sir.
And this agreement was clearly, as you stated, intended to provide an alliance to fight against ECOMOG, because according to President Doe at the time, he saw ECOMOG as a creation of the American CIA.
Yes, sir.
Now, what was the motivating reason for you entering into an alliance with Mr. Taylor, with Mr. Doe, with whom you had declared from the onset you are going to unseat him? Was it because your military position was precarious at the time? Were you running short of ammunition and thus forcing you to enter such an agreement with President Doe to secure your own safety and perhaps meeting yourself for another day, or was it for other reasons?
Well, ammunition getting shot, not getting shot. I don't know why would ammunitions belonging to my troops be getting shot when I came from the border to Monrovia. We have sufficient ammunition. We have collected abundance of arms and ammunition from Banga. But as to why I entered truce with Doe, that was encouraged by Doe himself, being a countryman like myself. He decided to enter into the truce and went through the diplomatic institution to make contact with me, and I agree. I saw the idea of a truce to be in place. But as to whether that truce will be implemented or not, or follow, obey, I don't know.
Okay, and we'll go back before that agreement. What was your military situation at the time ECOMOG landed? Because according to the reports and accounts that we have, or let me say I have, that the Boucher Island was on the verge of being overrun by NPFL forces, and it was only the landing of ECOMOG that saved the day. And that you were in a desperate situation to help ECOMOG land.
That cannot be true because they were on the sea. I'm sorry, I didn't bring some photograph. I have more photographs to show you. I had to go in the top book to go and bring them from the high sea.
Yeah, what was the reason that led you to that point? Was it desperation?
Which point?
The point to go out to get ECOMOG. Was it the fear of being overrun by the NPFL at the time?
See, no. I had cooperated from the initial stage with the ECOWAS Peace Initiative for Liberia. The ECOWAS Peace Initiative required that the troops come to divide the fighting parties. And somebody somewhere had to accept them. I had to do that. Not that I was short of ammunition, but the ECOWAS countries had put together their children to come and tell Liberians, stop killing yourself. Because when Biafra war broke out in Nigeria, Tottenham had to make peace. So that was their way of making peace among us. So I had to agree. And Taylor said, no, he wanted to dominate militarily by seizing power, by stopping us from making sure that ECOWAS landed. He did everything, bypass our checkpoints, and cross the river in the morning, early morning, and attack the port. But we were prepared to retaliate, and so we have manpower, we have the needed organic equipment to deal with the situation at that particular time, and we did. There were bombardments on all sides. My commanding general died. In the process, I lost men. Until I lost so many men, especially those who were retreating, running away, crossing the river, they died. And when we took full control of the, let it be noted, that ECOMOG troops did not come down helping us. We took full control of the port. Full control, we made sure we pushed it all the way back behind Ghana's way. And we took the double bridge before cow factory there. Then I had to tell Vanny, let us go on the high sea and bring these people, because they were afraid. I was receiving signal from other side because they were in contact with the diplomatic institution, and they were also in contact with me. That diplomatic institution was in contact with me, they were in contact with ECOMOG. And I said, we are in complete control of the port. Now, listen, when I signaled them, they were afraid. So when we went for them, they said that we had put entrapment in place to trap the troops. And I said, while you may be afraid of us, we too have been afraid of you, because if you capture Fanny and myself right here, we'll finish. Because the two of us are on the high seat in your ship, surrounded by great generals. But we are coming good faith because we are killing ourselves. The ECOWAS country send you for peace, so lay in our area. We were not afraid. We had the equipment.
Would you agree that at that particular time, the government of President Doe had lost the ability to effectively govern?
But of course, Doe lost the ability to govern when he ministered. Everybody fled. There was no government in place. When the chief of staff ran away from the whole army,
and that Monrovia was in a deadlock with opposing forces and civilians trapped in between those opposing forces. Would you agree that this was the situation at the time?
Well, there was state of anarchy, so whatever happy.
Okay, now against that backdrop, that you welcome ECOMOG, went out on high seas, took the risk. What is it then, was your perception at the time you signed an agreement with somebody against whom you have been fighting to oust somebody who, some institution or some group that had come to your aid and try to stabilize the situation? Because as you said, civilians were dying, you tired fighting, and you wanted some intervention. Then why is it
the agreement was not signed before the arrival? I don't think of that. I'm not making a mistake.
It was signed after the arrival.
It was signed when they had arrived. And that one was signed, they had to take it to them. Send copy to them.
But then, how can one explain that in the fight to push the MPFL out of Monrovia, your organization, the IMPFL, ECOMOG, and AFL collaborated in combined operations to push the MPFL out of Monrovia, with your men fighting side by side alongside AFL men with whom he has signed an agreement to oust ECOMOG?
Well, we had one common enemy we classify as such that time. The enemy to peace was then identified as Taylor. The AFL and us, and AFL was not Doe. Don't forget that. AFL was not Doe. So AFL started operating with us, with ECOMO. When we saw the need to do so, to push Taylor back, because Doe himself had accepted peace.
But yet you make the argument that an interim government had been agreed on in Banjul when a certain government was still sitting in Monrovia, given
Honorable Stewart, you are from Moja and LPP. Your people were present in the Gambia. LPP was fully present.
So was the
Are you telling me, are you not aware, as a bona fide executive or LPP that went to Gambia, the front government, are you not aware that the government was formed in SR before do demise? The government was formed in SR led by Sawyer, and you were there.
I was not there.
No, but your people were there. You are not declared for LPP. You still bona fide member.
The IMPFL was
you still executive, and those truth and reconciliation should be non-partisan.
The IMPFL.
Are you still member of LPP?
No, sir.
When did you resign?
Upon my nomination to serve, it was required that all those with affiliations to political parties and otherwise resign.
You said because now that you resign and you are here, that you are asking pretend you don't go up in Gambia?
But you were in the Banjul. You were there. You signed the agreement.
I saw your people. That's what I'm saying. I signed the agreement. I had no, listen, Honorable Stewart, I had no constitutional responsibility to obey the Constitution. But you, the political parties, within the framework of the Constitution, you should not have gone to Gambia to form an illegal government.
But your representatives participated in the process.
I had no responsibility constitutionally because I was a rebel leader.
Okay, let's move on.
No, it's okay, man. Don't worry. It's okay. You already listened. We're soon finished.
Now, Shall we have a quiet, please? Now, coming back to September, formation of the government, and which was done in August, if I recall correctly. September 9th, Mr. Doe, or President Doe, went to the Freeport and was captured by your men. But I do recall that shortly afterwards, there was a videotape of you at the, as you rightly said, you were at the island clinic when Mr. Doe was captured, or former President Doe was captured. But you were seen on that videotape calling Sunshine, Sunshine. Who were you referring to as Sunshine? Was it your men or who?
Well, it leaves with anyone who happened to think, to make their own judgment. Like,
Was it Americans?
I was just calling Sunshine.
Was it Americans?
No, I didn't say Americans. I said Sunshine.
Who were you referring to as Sunshine?
The Americans cannot be Sunshine. It could be anybody.
We know that was a code name. Who was this code name referring to?
Well, it could be some of my men.
But your men didn't carry walkie-talkies.
Oh, they have so many walkie-talkies. And many of them have different code names.
All right. Now, in your, you mentioned that in your training camp in Libya, you taught to your men the UCMJ, the Uniform Code of Military Justice.
Yes, we did that.
And I suppose that the Uniform Code of Military Justice is based on the Uniform Code of Military Justice is based on universally applicable standards of justice. Am I right or wrong?
That's correct.
So in your opinion, and on reflection, would you consider the tribunals, the various tribunals that you refer to that sentence and execute people, that those tribunals operate in conformity with standard rules and laws concerning the treatment of non-combatants and combatants, and that they had access to a fairly, you would say, fairly equitable chances, legal representation or representation, adequate representation, if not legal?
Well, though we taught our men in AAA, the Uniform Code of Military Justice was not followed because Uniform Code of Military Justice, that doctrine is taught in conventional institutions, and we were dealing with non-conventional matters, and so that was not followed by the MPF actually. That's why I had to draw out another SOP, Standard Operation Procedure, to guard the activity of my own men in combat.
Now, were those SOPs in consonance with, like I said, standards of
well, if you say
conduct?
don't rape, if you say Imam SOP number 1, don't rape. If you rape, which normally in the country is a capital crime, depending on the degree. Okay, it can be 1st degree, and you know why it is. So we had to put this down. Don't rape people's children. If you rape, execution immediately. So you better choose life by avoiding raping, or choose the grave by raping. Fair enough. This is a guerrilla movement. We had to put a law in place. If nothing would have gone off hand.
Now, there are reports that the late Mr. Michael Doe was shot to death on the 5th floor of the Hotel Africa in full view of an assembly of people, and that you commanded him to stand up and he shot him. Is there any truth to that?
Was he sitting down, according to the report?
Well, according to the report, you said, I quote, Michael, stand up, let me kill you. And he stood,
Giving you the
faced you,
account.
and you shot him in the head. And
Giving
told me
you,
about it over the
Marcus
document.
was not shot in the head. Marcus was shot in the chest. Whatever the situation, Marcus was killed by my troops upon misinformation given to us by his own deputy, Anna Bradley. I've explained it here. Questions have been posed, I've answered. So at that time, maybe you were not paying attention.
Now, moving forward, the death of former President Doe. You are shown on a video with President Doe, the former President Doe, wounded, sitting, and the late Director of Police, John Yome, interrogating him. On reflection, would you say that he was treated fairly in consonance with the UCMJ or any other standards of...
I told you, UCMJ for conventional troops.
Behavior?
UCMJ is for conventional troops. We're fighting guerrilla war with guerrilla tactics.
So did that deny him
And-
the right
and-
to be heard and tried in accordance with keeping with law?
Let me tell you something. When Colonel John Yome was arrested on the 9th Street, when Charles Bayon was arrested with a paper, with a camera and pen, and they paraded him on television here, and they took him to the martial ground and butchered him after shooting him. When the government was asked, they said that he brought his own gun, and while they were trying to take the gun from him, he shot himself. Have you heard that before?
We heard that.
Now, why would you talk about treatment? The treatment given to my people in the Lutheran church was okay.
It was not.
When I heard from the survivor that Doe, President Doe, and Charles Juru were there with the troops, they massacred my people in cold blood, and you are talking about good treatment for a murderer, a murderer, the man who killed people, who killed Nimba people. When I talk, there's one tear going to come in my eyes. You killed these people in cold blood, and you took our children from Nimba and brought them in the truck and put them upside down. And you are telling me diplomatic treatment should be accorded? UCMJ?
We know that these unfortunate
When
things
you
happen.
turn your deadly bazooka to Nimba and bomb the place and burn down our villages and brought our mother before their husbands, and they tell the children, big boys, them to make sex with their own mothers. Is that diplomatic treatment as we are called?
I would say it was wrong. But can that justify then the maltreatment of Mr. Doe, even though he had been accused of all of this?
Well, I'm just thinking you are more on the defensive side of Doe than the people that were killed in the Lutheran church. I think you are more concerned about Doe than the 300 babies that were brought. I think you are more concerned about Doe than the seizure of Nimba County, during which time our people lost their lives in cold blood. I don't understand that.
Well, that's a perception, which may not necessarily be correct.
Well, that's the truth I'm saying. Because I listen to every commissioner and I answer them very well, but you are specific. You're very
I'm specific because the 300 children you have reference to, it still has not been established. But I can recall, I can tell you what.
Honorable Commissioner, where were
Just
you?
just a minute.
Yes.
I can recall in April of 1990, I
can show you the mass grave.
in April of 1990. That story came about 1990.
It's not a story, it's real. I can show you the mass grave.
Just a minute.
I know where.
That story came about in 1990. And in 1990, as a member of the Red Cross and working with the Red Cross at the time, I went along with others to Nimba, to Ganta. It was reported that the children were held in an orphanage at the Ganta hospital. We went there. There were no children there. So whether the children had been taken out earlier or not, but it was based on a report that children were trapped in there, and that's why we went there. And there were no children there. So if you have accounts that they were killed otherwise in their lives,
this is
provide information.
This is a real story, and I'm saying to you, if you, Honorable Stewart, cannot remember when our children were paraded here in army trucks and put in the mass grave, then I don't know how I can position myself to answer you.
Well, as I told you, I was
Because
living in Ghana at the time. I was not
you
in
are not
Monrovia. So
talking
if it
about
happened
those
in Monrovia,
children.
I
In
may
fact,
not have known.
you are insinuating that you want to find there were no evidence of children being brought here. That's what you are saying.
No.
Is what all the reports gather contrary to what you are saying. And what we know is what we know when we're talking.
No.
You see, so that's the story.
Okay, let's move on. Now, on the arrangements that may have led President Doe to the Freeport, you see that this arrangement was done through an intermediary, Mr. Salif Dix Thompson. What was the relationship between you and Mr. Thompson?
Nothing. It was not anything to me. It was Samuel Doe's spokesman. And even going to the port, if I had known, I would advise against it. Because you and I have signed a truce in which we agreed to attack ECOMO. So what are you going to do to the base?
But did you have any further subsequent dealings with Mr. Thompson, Salif Thompson?
I don't know. He told me he sent Thompson to let me know he was coming to see me and to visit ECOMO base, and Thompson never came. Because Thompson presumably had already arranged his own exit from Monrovia to ECOMO.
But in November 1990, I was at your base. You can recall that.
Yeah, I was coming there.
Mr. Salif, about 7:30 in the evening, going to 8 o'clock, our vehicle drove. As I was leaving your base, Mr. Tom Kamara and myself, our vehicle drove on to your base, and the door opened, and out came Mr. Salif Dix Thompson in a gown, dressed in a long flowing robe, along with General Donganyaro, dressed in a long flowing robe. What was the purpose of that meeting?
Well,
what was discussed?
He came with Donganyaro. I don't know. Donganyaro was probably coming to see me, and he managed to bring Salif Thompson. Like I told you, Salif Thompson had already arranged with ECOMO to take him away, and that commander that was to take him was Donganyaro. It was Donganyaro, in fact, who took Salif Thompson to Nigeria.
Okay, if we should move on. Now, one of my colleagues mentioned, and perhaps I will come back to that. But before that, mention about the change of the currency, I'll come back with that. But before that, in 1990, there were some Caucasians at your base, white people. And I remember seeing them at the time testing and firing weapons. What were they doing there? Who were they? Which nationality did they belong to?
I don't know a white people woman be firing weapons. I don't know. If you know, convince me by showing me photographs. I don't know.
There was also some Lebanese who were combatants in the IMPFL. Can you explain their role? How they got there?
I had no Lebanese with me in my army. I had special forces commandos trained in Libya and Burkina Faso. And they consisted of Cruz, Grebo, Gil, Manon, Bassa, Pele, and all conglomeration of tribes.
But the striker you mentioned, the name Striker, he was one of those at your base, Striker.
Striker, the Lebanese born. He's a Mono Liberian, and he was living there at Beer Factory.
But he was in military uniform along with, I saw on your base, along with several other Lebanese in military uniform.
No, Honorable Commissioner, this is a Liberian. This is a Lebanese boy, he's a Liberian. He's a Liberian.
Okay, we should move on. The December attack on the AFL, the December shootout in Monrovia between the IMPFL and the AFL. It can be recalled that during that period, you usually came from your cover base and went to Mama Point by way of the old bridge, through Mama Point and came to town. That was your regular route. And that route had not changed up to the point when the fighting broke out in Monrovia in December between the IMPFL and the AFL. And I remember clearly on the day that the IMPFL marched across the new bridge, leading that attack was a jeep, a tactical jeep with a 50 caliber mounted on top, advancing across the bridge, encountering no resistance at all. something that I saw and witnessed. What was the motivation then for that attack on the BTC?
You see,
There were arguments, just a minute. There were arguments that an ambush had been set for you by the AFL. But I was wondering, where was this ambush set, since your route to Monrovia was through the old bridge and through Mamba Point, and the AFL was nowhere in Mamba Point. So where exactly was this ambush set, and how often were you in the habit of passing to where this ambush had been set, such that it was designed to entrap you?
You see, Honorable Stewart, you are biased. You're telling me there was no resistance. You are biased because you're not telling the true story. You're not putting the question correctly. You are giving me a question and you are saying there was no resistance at all. If there was no resistance, how come my men sustained injuries for which I sent reinforcement?
But there's something that I saw. I saw you advancing across the bridge and there was no resistance.
The LPP group led by Sawyer, who invited me and ordered the attack on me to accuse me of breaching the ceasefire. That's why you are backing. That's
There
what I
was no
said.
fight that you crossed the bridge. There was no
Because you're
fight.
not asking definite questions, you are saying there was no resistance. There was resistance.
But I'm not saying eyewitness.
I
saw
see,
you
I
advancing
see, I
across
told
the
you,
bridge and there was no resistance.
You were not even in the picture. You were monitoring me where I passed everything. That's what caused the attack. You are monitoring so well. And as a guerrilla commander before, I tried to make my movement the way I wanted to for security. And you monitor me well, which you just mentioned. And that's why they attacking on me. And when I sent Tom Kamara to tell Sawyer that they were happening, he went walking back.
Say that again, please.
That's why I saw Tom Kamara and I asked him to tell Sawyer, saying he went to the Duco to say I was under attack and I received injury. He saw the people that were there. But he won't say the truth because that attack was ordered by the LPP commander, Sawyer, under whose command Ekuma was operating. And you cannot sit here publicly and condemn Sawyer, not Tom Kamara, because these are the Moja LPP group.
I was with Mr. Tom Kamara on that very day.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you were with Tom Kamara,
and you were across the bridge in Vietown.
I was a fighter and you saw
with some Lebanese fighters, and you were holding dynamite, and you said that you have been threatened with attack, and had you been attacked,
I was not
blown
threatened.
up the bridges.
Honorable, I could not break the bridge that I protected. If I wanted to break the bridge, I would have broke it with the bazookas I had. With the equipment I had sufficient dynamite. But when you telecom me to cross when the AFL had the machine gun mounted facing us directly. So I could not have broken down the bridge. This is kind of the indictment you try to give me. You are indicting me. You see, I would never have, you never saw me with grenades. With dynamite. You saw me with grenades all on me because my men were under attack and I came in full combat uniform prepared to defend.
No, the Lebanese fighters who were with you, they were holding the bundles of dynamite.
Well, it is only you know that Lebanese were with me, but these are not Lebanese. I don't know of any Lebanese being recruited to join my army. These people are recruited were all Liberians that I brought to join me. But if you were with Tom Kamara that day, because it is only Tom I saw, he saw the wounded with me, those that were wounded. And you can tell me that there was no resistance, meaning nobody resisted, there was no injury, then you are biased.
But that was not the day the attack started.
That was the day you saw me. I was on my way to the Duco when they told me don't go because the army of AFL is crossing, there's something happening. When I sent the first platoon, the jeep you say talking about, I never had tactical jeep. I did not have the military tactical jeep. I had trucks. And I had this Toyota Corolla, Toyota 4Runner. I didn't have a tactical jeep. You see, okay. I know we are doing something in some because when I came, I hit your man Sawyer very high. I hit him. So it break your heart, you know. You see, so you see now. So you put that defense. Okay, Honorable Commissioner, go ahead.
All right. If we should move on. You talked about turning over about, you said eight point something million.
$8.7 million.
I remember at the time that you had a council of advisors, as you had said,
Yeah.
which included a lot of prominent figures, Mr. David Vinton, Mr. Charles Bright, Mr. Jonathan Mason, Professor the late Serenus Fall, Dr. Peter Nigel, and several others who constituted your council of advisors. Mr. Petrie, of course, including Mr. Petrie. Now, there were reports that money had been taken from the bank.
Who took it?
That you had taken money from the bank.
That cannot be true.
Is this true or not?
That cannot be true because I told Sawyer there's a $7 million documents. Yeah, Vinton, the governor that was there, is the same governor, and they opened the bank. When he took full control of inauguration, he opened the bank. David Vinton began to work there. So which money was involved that they opened the bank for? No one entered the bank.
I'm just asking you to
I
confirm.
told my chief of staff, Borough Blomo, anybody attempt to go into this bank, shoot them. Nobody entered there. They took the money and used that money to print local money, and they used the local money to siphon the rest of the money for the bank to buy a house in America. Where the money now they come work here?
Now, there are reports that because the currency was changed, it left you with a very large amount of JJ notes to the amount of several millions, I don't know. And this was the main reason that drew your anger. Is this true?
No, it cannot be. You see, you only have Monrovia. If I had such money talking about, we use it until now because our people will go and buy agricultural products and bring it here. That was not the case. It was just being cruel that you will print money, target him, and try to install you as interim president with our blood. It's pure wickedness. After the man fought with the blood and install you and gave you power on the platter of gold, then you can now come to Monrovia and print money and tell the people, say, these are thieves. They got money they should not have. So now print new money. The new money you print, what was the resource you had to back it? Because the whole Liberia was on Taylor, and you wouldn't have Monrovia here. What was the resource? That was $8.7 million. $8.7 million from Dole, and the money that the Nigerian government gave on behalf of ECOWAS to the Gambia Bank for Liberia, over 30 million. The guy got rich over this 3 years.
Now, if we should move forward on to octopus. Now, prior to October 15th, I think, if I remember correctly, the date of the attack on Monrovia. But immediately prior to the octopus attack on Monrovia, there were reports that there were quite a large number of NPFL soldiers. As a matter of fact, there was a witness who testified before this TRC that he was among those NPFL soldiers who were on your base, whom Mr. Taylor had dispatched on the agreement that together Monrovia would be attacked. And that at some point, you suddenly became aware that perhaps Mr. Taylor had ulterior motives to take you prisoner and eliminate you. And you took several of them and locked them in a container and had planned to eliminate them. And it was because of their cries that Mr. Cooper Miller and one Alice Nello, commonly referred to as 2 for 5, revolted against you and opened a container and set them free. What is the real story?
That is untrue. The true story here is that the octopus was planned by Charles Taylor, and my men, most of my men had to join. Their joining the MPFL to launch attack on Monrovia was enacted by Sawyer's maladministration.
So what role did you play in this? Did you play a
I did not play any role. I refused, and I ordered Cooper Miller to tell this men that have come to stop the arms and let us take jogging. Let's do jogging. And we did jogging from my house to the iron gate. And I left order behind. They should seize all the iron, put in my house. So by the time the soldier jogged with me and came out, the iron was seized from them. It were those arms that I kept, and I said they should find a way to go. I don't want to see them. And they left. So the next attack that came, I did not know. I knew my men were involved. I didn't know who were all involved. So the next attack that came, when I now took the very arms, I took from the MPFS soldiers to issue my men. As I issued the gun, I never saw it again.
So what caused the defection of your principal lieutenant, Samuel Varney, to the MPFL?
No, Samuel Varney, for all indications, on one of the peace missions, had crossed carpet earlier, and I didn't know. And Cooper Miller was given to more drinks. He would go to Banga to represent me, and he would be on the other side drinking, and they would put him on. You would not know what they're discussing. And so on the day of the altar post, somebody went to his house, knocked his house, and said, the general is waiting for you at the Life Force building. And when he got there, he said, where's the general? That's me, Prince Johnson. And they said, he's not here. We only call you to ask you to join us. After all, when we were with Prince Johnson, where were you? Taylor locked you up in the Burkina Faso there, and then you came to join. You become chief of staff over us. We'll kill you if you refuse to join us. So it was one fellow that shot Cooper Miller in the head, and took his cap. The 2 for 5 you're talking about had planned to kill me along with the people. And he came to my house. I was sitting right in front of my door, sitting right there, and then she couldn't see me. Darkness covered me. And she was saying to the 50 caliber man right ahead of me to give way so he could come and kill me. I was sitting there right there. So it was not because truly those people are disarmed. When they refused to go, I asked them to stay in there was a one big compound, very big compound. I said they should stay there at their old school, and that I would like to know from Taylor many things, some of which were, if he wants us to join to fight Monrovia, truly, where does he expect me to put all the orphan children? Because I cannot have the orphan children here and attack Ecomo here. Where does he expect me to put my own children? This will be a bombardment area. And many of my soldiers are already being promoted after their training in different fields of qualifications. Taylor has his own government in Banga. He has his own generals, colonels, lieutenants. If we were to go into his government to join, what would be my role? And what would be the role of my men? And when the two forces join to fight Monrovia, who takes total command of the troops? Is it I or who? So gentlemen, you all stay here until I send letter to Taylor to find out what he intends to do with the combined forces. Who takes control? And while the man who told the letter was gone, and these soldiers I had disarmed intelligently were waiting in the school compound with different rooms, so many rooms, I sent for Ecomo, to come and have all of them arrested and take the guns. Ecomo did not come because they have been receiving reports that they were set up on the way to launch. So anybody you say will not come, they were afraid of being captured. They will tell me, wait, they will tell me, wait, they will tell me, wait. Ross Martin and Carl Tisman came to see me, UNICEF, and expressed concern about the children. But they said they could not take the children away. I said, okay, God will protect them. If I do cross and survive from here, I'm going to make sure that I send the children, all of them, to you. Ecomo never came because the bombardment that Taylor was launched, the launching bombardment from Mount Bagley on Ecomo and launching, even missing Ecomo and Tuko and dropping the sea, that the Sawyer was telling Ecomo that I was bombing. He tried to get Ecomo to attack me, to eliminate me, as they eliminated Konatele. That was Sawyer's instrumentality. So the Ecomo look at their board and they say, no, Prince Johnson does not have this kind of range of weapon. Because the thing was jumping, so it must be higher. And they told Sawyer to stop, Veta Malu told Sawyer to stop announcing my name on the radio. Because my name was on the radio that I was launching ECOMO. So they told him, Veta Malu told him that the launching is from Mount Bagley, passing over. And the people are missing target, not Prince Johnson. So, but all in all, my men, many of them joined Taylor to fight Sawyer by internal government because he ill-treated the IMPFL members. Okay? And they wanted to get him down. I had no role to play. All the role I played was to defend myself. That's why I had to go to ECOMO. To show them that I was not bombing them. Look, here am I. Even when I surrendered to ECOMO, I surrendered for two reasons. One, I didn't want war anymore. Two, here am I, ECOMO, with my family. He said, I'm launching you, or he said, tell her according to the truth. Contrary to Sawyer pronouncement on radio. So when I surrendered to ECOMO, the bombardment was still going on. So that one they knew that one big politician here was not correct in talking.
But just looking back, you think your position would have been overrun had you not surrendered to ECOMOG?
Well, my position could have been overrun, but there's something that the position was not overrun. One, reason God. Two, I had tactical men. And three, these men that left me and John Taylor truly didn't want to fight me. They sorry for me. Because I trained them over the years, and I've been good to them. Their concerns were my concerns. I done nothing wrong for which they should not fight me because of the new alliance with Taylor. If they wanted to overrun that base, they were overrun. And the Taylor's men could not overrun the base because they are all indigenous that are trained in Libya and Burkina Faso. So, and then we represented two groups of people. I represented the indigenous, and Taylor represented the American Liberian. They had killed all their country people in the interior. I was the only one that they couldn't kill. They killed Kobatia, Emma Grant Johnson, Moses Dropu, Stephen Yakasi, all those people they killed them. But they didn't want to kill me because they had lost too many of they had wasted too many of their own people's blood. So somebody came and told me, said, Papa, leave the base. We don't want to fight you. Leave. We hear Blackberry coming. We hear AFL coming. And when the fighting starts, we don't know who will kill you. Papa, please leave with the children. So they opened the corridor. So all the weapons I had, the ammunition I had, it was useless shooting. They didn't shoot me. I didn't shoot them. Because I'm a typical countryman. And they didn't want to kill me for charter issue. So that was why.
Thank you. What would you say were the circumstances surrounding the death of former Maritime Commissioner Phil Bowen?
I don't know Phil Bowen, and I don't know. Where did he die?
Well, the information that I have is that he was arrested by your men and was taken to your base and was killed.
Not people that were arrested were all killed. No, nobody arrested somebody. Let me tell you, many things were happening when we reached Monrovia that I didn't know. The one I knew, I caught a shot. Look at William Russell, the director. I was patrolling the base. When I looked in the precinct, in the MP quarter, I saw a man, there was white beer, way in the corner. They are taking all his clothes. I didn't order such arrest. And I said, but I know that man long time, I think from CWA, that man used to play basketball. I admired that man. I said, come here, he came. I said, MP, who brought him in here? Nobody was able to tell me because I was there with them there. We were not interested in just arresting people and killing people. Look at the number of people you call and you say, and many others. Those government officials that were with me. I would have opened that bank because I had a key. I would have taken all the million and buried them somewhere and kept Vinton, David Vinton, and kept Petre, and kill the man with the thing and destroy evidence that they put together. I saw them open the bank. I could implicate them. But I was honest. The money was there and truly there. You think I mean no goodie? But I kept the money for the Liberian people. So I took William Russell from the jail. He had been there 2 weeks and they were okay in Asin night. Well, for any order for me. I brought him to my house. I told my wife, Mrs. Johnson, to make water for him to bath. He bathed in my bathroom. I said, yes, my closet, my personal clothes. Go there, tell any clothes you want to wear. He took it, he bought it. And I sent him on his way home. William Russell, GSA director. I was just telling the story earlier about Damata Kone when they were in jail. Mandingo follow. I don't even know Damata Kone that time. But I freed a large group of Mandingos that tell them how impressing them to kill them. I did not know Damata Kone until Lord came and freed everybody to come home. Then I went to speak to the reverend leader Damata to say, thank you. Me, they say you kill people, but if you don't kill, they come back there, they play can be clear. So I come to pay my courtesy call. He said, General, I said, yeah. He said, you don't know me, but I know you. You set me free from prison in Fila. He began to shed tears. I only saw the Mandingos. I didn't know that I was the Matekone. So for people to come and fabricate, to say, I get this, I get that, I get this, I get that, it cannot be true.
So how would you describe the human rights record of the IMPFL, including yourself as its leader?
The human rights record was not very perfect, like in the case I just mentioned about though, it was a mistake. But IMPFL did well. IMPFL with 14 force, IMPFL with the food distributors. I will not serve giving food, but we serve in the capacity of serve. We supply clinics with medical, pharmaceutical drugs. Real expensive drugs. And nobody can ask me where I got those drugs from to save lives, but you can only call me a looter. You know what looting is? When you take food from a particular place and feed the public, is that looting? When the people are hungry, we must see food and leave it. Everything I took from the port, Liberians became part and parcel of it. At least we saved lives. We did our best. We made our foreign shot along the way to revolutionize our country. Maybe all the mere suspicion, intents come back, we didn't have time to investigate. All may have lost their lives. To those people who say, may your soul rest in peace, and sorry to the family.
So would you accept responsibility for the extrajudicial actions of your men?
What extrajudicial action?
Were there none?
Will you charge Egoma for dropping cluster bomb in Sierra Leone for people who are jubilating that the Sierra Leone were recaptured by the peacekeeping force and they killed the whole family? Will you charge them for extrajudicial killing?
Well, you understand, I'm asking about it.
No, are you local Bobby? I don't know. You're a graduate, a professor, a Truth and Reconciliation Commissioner.
Well, if that situation should arise, then we can address that. But currently,
well, when the time comes, we can address that also.
So again, so that means that you would or would not accept responsibility for the actions of your men.
What action? What action, my men?
Extrajudicial action.
These men were put in combat in defense of the country and the country against a regime that killed their people. And I'll tell you something. When I first came to Liberia, I stood up there, apart from taking Learn, Model, and LPC, all those groups. I said sorry to the Doe family. I said sorry to the Crown people. Have you ever heard with your ears that they ever said sorry to Nimba people? No. Is reconciliation one-way traffic? No. Am I a coward to say sorry? No. My conscience tells me to do so for the good of tomorrow. But if those people I'm still sorry to can now also say sorry, where do we draw the line?
So are you prepared to reconcile with them?
We reconcile in the Church of God out of Liberia.
But a relative came out and said that.
And yet the relative, not relative, the wife of Doe come and say, not true. That the man was so powerful, he manipulated. How can you manipulate? How can you? But where do I stand now? I care less if you don't accept reconciliation. I represent Nimba, I represent Liberia Senator. I fought in defense of my people that were on a siege, that were slaughtered their goats. If I say sorry to you, you don't sorry to us, then where do we go? So I'm a coward now. I fear death. You're sorry. Hey, I beg you. You're sorry. For what?
My last question. Has there ever been a time in your life when you have been ill? and suffered and had to be taken up country for treatment.
I wonder if you are a supernatural being who never gets sick. I wonder if you are one.
I mean, mental illness.
A mortal human being who never sees sickness.
Have you ever before suffered mental illness in any way?
I think it's an insult to me. I think you are going to the extreme.
No.
A mentally ill person cannot be a citizen of his country. I've never been sick. I've never been sick. There is no record in your medical book in this country or anywhere that was taken there for psychiatric treatment.
Thank you very much.
God bless you. Goodbye.
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2.
No, it's okay. A big O. No, I ate before coming. I was prepared for this. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, please. Can we be quiet, please?
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Honorable witness, we express our deepest gratitude, at least I do, that you have seen fit to join us today. For you stand in a position representing the people of this country, and your love for this nation has allowed you to come forth and honestly share with us, this commission, what happened during this investigative period. And we will always remember this. Thank you. Particularly, I see you in a dual position, and therefore I would, if you don't mind, I would like to start my presentation by referring to a biblical quotation, since you have moved from a position of someone who revolutionized the past of our country and now stand as a religious leader. In the book of Matthew, there's a story there in the 11th, chapter 11, section 11:12. It says, "Verily I say unto you, amongst them that are born of women, there has not risen greater than John the Baptist. Notwithstanding, he that is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he. And from the day of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffers violence, and the violent take it by force." Later on, the Lord went on to explain what he meant by least in the kingdom of heaven, when he said in the book of Matthew 5:19, "Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least of my commandments and shall teach men to do so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven." So when you put these two chapters together, you can see that history shows a man who came to this world to build a good nation for God. He was misunderstood and betrayed by those who he loved and respected. And so he left a prophecy behind, saying that from now on, people who want to establish goodness and God's kingdom will have to come forth with violence to do so. And we see our nation's history falls in that. We call ourselves a nation that's supposed to have been built on Christian principles, but yet we were not able to implement those principles with fair justice for all. So at the end, men and women of violence had to come to strive to rebuild this country by force. So with that introduction, my first question then to you will be, you once said that the cause of the Liberian War was bad governance. You also said Doe, who you captured and later we hear was killed, was corrupted by the same political power to perpetuate the same bad governance that he had killed Talbot and other Truitt Party members for earlier. Today, many of you, meaning those who have this revolutionary heart for change, are put in the position as our current leaders and have pleaded with the Liberian people to trust you and give you political power again since election 2005. But we continue to read the newspapers every day and see the same trail of bad governance. What are we to assume from all of this in light of your theory that the gun that liberates should not rule? Have you changed your theory? Should the gun that liberated be allowed to rule so as to protect those liberated? Please tell us why you have changed your philosophy, and how will this change really seek to bring peace to us? Please, I don't say anything to personally attack anyone, so I hope you can understand my heart and just to understand things.
Your Honor, Reverend, as my philosophy changed, the guns that liberate should not rule. I wonder if you know the true meaning of it.
But could you help me educate?
No. I want to know from you, because you said it has changed and you began to say it's still in bad governance. What have you seen in it that has changed?
Well,
And what activities have you seen on our part that show that things are not right?
Okay, then what I'll do to answer that, let me give you my next two questions, and then you can put it all together to answer. Because my next two questions entails that.
No, I would like to be clear on that.
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Because the guns that liberate should not rule.
Okay.
I was talking in terms of military rule, taking guns and killing the president and taking over power by force of arms. I was not talking about when a soldier disarm and go for election and is elected as a senator or president.
Oh, I see. Okay. Thank
Are
you.
you to confirm?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying now. Your clarity. Okay. So then my next question would be, do you believe that the revolution by arms against bad governance has or can achieve its objective? In this case, I would like a simple answer, because the third question is more deeper. Yes or no, meaning, do you think it's possible or can it do it?
Let me answer you by saying this. There were times in this country, pastors and reverends were flogged. There were times in this country by the regime of Doe. My understanding is that Mother Douglas was also flogged.
Yes, I heard that.
There was no peaceful means by which such diabolical dictatorial system could be changed. A tyrant is not removed from power by mere political activities piecewise. For a real dictator or tyrant to be removed, you must speak the language he believes.
Okay.
And that's what gave rise to the picking of arms as the last resort. But other than that, the citizens have the right constitutionally to demonstrate. The demonstration of citizens against a regime means they're not satisfied with something you are doing. And that is enough for you to change your style or leadership. But if you continue to abide by the same old way that you have, suppression, repression, and what have you, depriving other people of their entitlements, of incentives, of life, they will have no choice, because when they demonstrate peacefully, you tell Justice Ministry, you have send police, flog them, put them, disperse them. They put tear gas and tear gas people. Then you get our complaint now. As many times they try that, they crush it. When the people cannot express their democratic franchise through peaceful democracy, you gotta go to police to go get mission. If God wouldn't want you to demonstrate. When every peaceful means for change is applied, and it's impossible, then you make peaceful change impossible. you invite
Men of violence.
violence.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next question is, we have all learned now that a revolutionary change of government by guns does not guarantee good governance. It only leads to a change of leadership without the rise of goodness.
That's correct.
So it appears that where a nation lacks righteous leaders who have the true heart of God, meaning willing to die for the sake of others' defense instead of killing others in defense of themselves, such a nation will experience revolutionary change of leadership with perpetual bad governance, like the domino effect. As one unrighteous group of leaders fight against another unrighteous group of leaders. We saw this happening in Liberia and the region from 1970 to 2003. For example, every 10 years from 1970, we saw Tubman die strangely in a hospital when somebody may have pulled a plug on his cable. 1980, we saw Torbert killed by Doe. 1990, we saw Doe killed by your honorable self. And 2000, we saw an attempt on Taylor, but Dougally had to sit his place, and then Taylor had to go face the court. So how can we prevent 2010 from repeating the same sad history, in your opinion?
You see, when a righteous man, a godly man, is on the throne,
That would be the only way.
you enjoy peace.
Okay, thank you.
But when you have people in this country, for example, let me tell you, Reverend, and you sit down here and I don't know whether you can advise the people. When Dr. Doe became president, his name was never Tano. When he became president, he chose the name Tano. What is the meaning? I would like to know that. When Doe left the office and Taylor came, he adopted a name Darkmana. What is the meaning? So Zoti. They forget God is going to sow bush. They get initiated.
That's it.
When our mother was elected, she was never given the name she has now. I don't know, it says Zokwa. Her name is Zokwa. They initiated her into the sow bush too. Everybody coming in with those kind of herbalist name, all kind of name. Where have they left God? I was in the Methodist Church doing the intercessory program just before the inauguration. And a group of bishops came from America and gave our mother a golden Bible to take the word of God as a light onto her feet and a lamp onto her path. After the Bible was given and she had said in good faith, the Zokwa people came and gave her the Zokwa. Then then the traditional rulers now, so people. Where are we leaving God? This is our problem. When you got a hell of a Masonic crown top of the head there, they all kind of thing. Do I have to be there to live? No. Think about it.
Thank you very much. Next, tell us, now I will ask you some basic questions for history. Tell us, why did you break away from, no, sorry, not why, when? Because you already did give us an idea of why. But I would like to know the exact date when you broke away from NPFL.
My memory may not be so well now, I can forget.
You said it was somewhere.
December 89, January, February, March.
Okay.
I broke away March.
What year was that, please?
In 1990.
1990.
Yeah, March.
Thank you.
And 2-3 months or 4 March, April, May, June, July, 4 months of Monrovia.
Okay.
I walk.
Thank you very much. Also, please shed some light on the founding of the MPFL. Who would you say are the 5 core founders of this national patriotic group? And then who funded the MPFL? What was its major mission and its goal?
Well, the MPFL honored Kwangba was funded by Harry Greaves, James Holder, Ralph Phillips, and many others. I do not know of Madam Salih being involved, but I've been told many times by Taylor's wife that she was involved in contacting her to let Kwangba go, but I'm not sure of that story. But these are the people. But on my side, the MP of Honor Taylor were financed by those very countries you may have heard about. I don't need to overemphasize. You know them.
All right. And do we know what their main mission was? Their main mission just to get rid of Doe, or was their main mission something more?
Well, you can't get rid of Doe or getting power. Taylor wanted power, so you can get Doe out.
Okay.
I broke away to fight Taylor and get Doe out to restore democracy through an interim arrangement.
Oh, I see. Okay. Next, we understand your motivation for overthrowing Doe's government. That you've explained. But in light of history, do you believe that the PAL was justified in staging a revolution against the Talbot-led Tariq Party government, considering that it was that event that led you and other men?
Well, Reverend, we may not accept the fact, but the indigenous people that make up the larger population of this country were tired with one-party system.
Okay.
And they needed to change it.
All right. So you thought it was justifiable then for Doe to do what he did?
Justifiable. Why would the minority people want to rule the majority for so many years?
Okay.
You can't share power with them.
During that time, I heard you were in the military, were you not?
No, I was not.
Okay, sorry.
During which time? Why you?
Okay, so you joined later, 85.
I joined 74.
74?
Yeah.
Oh, but if you were in 74, that means 1980 you were in it.
Yeah, that's why I came.
So what I wanted to know is, was that revolution a broad-based military-supported revolution, or was it just a few people doing their own thing like?
Well, what you see, the whole plan was to get Doe out and bring all Liberians that were.
No, not Doe's government. The one for Talbot itself, the one that Doe and his group led. Was that a broad-based?
I would pray I would pray that you invite PRC member Abato. They killed Talbot. They were explaining whatever for broad-based reason. Well, I don't know.
Okay, let me ask you another question. Now that you brought that up, there was a constitutional clause that was put in by the legislature at that time that said nobody should even inquire into the issues of that coup. Now, in light of TRC's present mandate and you being a member of the Senate, how do you think we should go about something like that? Is it possible to bring such a person
I'm not familiar with that clause in the Constitution, but we're still researching the Constitution. We're still searching to see what we will come across and whether it's important to change them. We're still looking into it.
Okay. All right. Going along, during the period of 1991 to 1997, can you tell us, I mean, you've already given us a lot of information, but I just want a quick overview. When did you sort of get out of the system, and what time did you leave the country and disarm your people?
I got out in 1992.
Did you disarm your men before you left, or did they just filter into the new MPFL?
I turned over to ECOMO, the peacekeepers, all my war implements. And they took receipt of them all. And I left the men, the disarmed men in the care of ECOMO. And they were rehabilitated and reintegrated.
Oh, so you left all the armed men with your weapons, everything in ECOMO's hand.
Yes.
1992.
Yes.
That was before Octopus or after?
After Octopus.
Oh, okay. Next. Were you a supporter in any way of the incursion by Lurid or Model during the 1997?
I just told you, I won't be here.
Oh.
There was a system on the ground. Guns were everywhere, intimidating people. Anyone who mentioned my name, Yedugbe, in Taylor area, you are dead. So God used Lurid to come here to bring us back home. Had a Lurid hadn't come, you will get democracy? You will not get democracy. You will not. Let's be fair.
Okay.
I said this in Nimba among the Taylor people planted there now. We are the few, no more Taylor people in Nimba. Nimbanians and Nimbanians working in the democratic dispensation, fully committed to the peace process, supporting our model. Nobody think about Taylor again in Nimba. Everybody is interested in moving his life or left forward.
So you believe that the election of 1997 was really a big mistake for this country?
That
It wasn't democracy.
election was a sad thing that ECOWAS pushed on Liberia and imposed Taylor. Because the ECOMA was tired fighting. They didn't know about jungle warfare. They were being killed. And Taylor has sent a battalion plus in Sierra Leone to wait there. So if he didn't win, they will come out to create havoc. So they just gave it to him on platter of gold with the hope that he will change. You know, sometimes positions can humble people and make it a change. Like our mother now, our mother used to be tough when she was fighting the Taylor. But the grandma is very quiet, cool. You see?
Thank you. Okay, next, another sensitive question, but I know you will answer it properly. Why was it necessary, in your opinion, to, excuse the words, but brutally murder the late President S.K. Doe instead of just capturing him and turning him over to The Hague, like they did with Taylor? Let me finish, please. Giving way for the so-called interim government, which was already established and waiting to come in to take control. Are we to believe that you were an innocent, accidental tool of faith, or could there have been another plan to remove Doe had you not acted the way you did? Please help us to understand.
Reverend, you sat there and you heard me over the past 5 to 6 hours now. Doe regime did not favor my people.
Okay, that's what I want to verify.
He killed them like chickens. We had no protection under the law. Our people were being hunted at night. Samuel Doe regime gave the people of Nimba sleepless nights. He drove off from the capital, nowhere to go. He pursued us in Nimba and did to us what they did, which has now become history.
Thank you.
Calculating all of that. History of massacre of one tribe. And having this man sit before me, what do you expect a man reflecting my minds on the atrocities committed by his regime himself against our people? He should not have done that, because many children that Samuel Doe born, he born them at Nimba with me. We call each other Dori Dori. If you and Kwangba get your problem, you should have a limit. Don't go to Nimba and kill people. When you lie on West and kill West, why you didn't go to Sano and start killing the people there? When they lie on Nelson Toe and kill him in a phantom coup and try them in a kangaroo court. That's why I was thinking it was Honorable Stewart, when those great men and women were tried by the kangaroo tribunal and executed here. I wonder why you didn't go to the marshal and ask him why he did that. And what would you expect?
I understand.
When my people begin to cry, I should get diplomatic treatment. I'm going to pursue legality. I'm going to leave room for human rights to come in and start many issues that I would like to see done. When Robert comes to you and still you think when you graduate, the human rights say, you see? So we were under intense pressure.
I understand.
So let all of us in Liberia remember that deaths occur on all sides. Everybody did something somewhere. No politician in this country, nobody in this country who is in power or out of power or before that now will tell me they were never involved in any crisis. All of them. Bishops and all were involved. They from government in SR. I remember when Lord King, I am told concretely by somebody very substantial that our father Bishop Michael had to go to Paul Road Bridge to pray for Lord and get them victory son to come and take over. They want to Paul Road Bridge and pray for the people to come and shoot bazooka. It is that bazooka that brought victory because the bishop prayed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I understand you were sort of overwhelmed by the love for your people, similar to Moses, I guess, when he killed the Egyptians.
Love for Nimbanians, love for Liberia. because though was not only the thorn in the flesh of Nimbanians, he was also the thorn in the flesh of Liberians. The family that were butchered on Oro, were they Nimba people? The Nat family? No. Somebody blood tested was just interested in ruining the whole family, wipe them out from the earth. Is that good? And the lady here, you see, just the other day, Charles Julu came to my office. He sat there before me. He had sent his wife earlier to ask him for help when he was in jail. Though I didn't give that help, I would have done it. I didn't have money. Of course, not to give money to a man wife in jail for this or that. You had to be proven before. I don't want to get trouble. He came to me. This is a man who killed Eugene Kidder, who killed my uncle, my mother, brother, D.K. Wosalie, who were never involved in Nimba raid. Took them to Sika Valley, and dumped them in the B Valley, and rendered a children fatherless. The wife, no husband. They can pass through Nimba quietly, nobody trouble them. They pass through Town, and they know that that regime killed Nelson To, Harry Johnson. They pass through Town, and no crown people will come and say, you kill our son, don't pass here. They don't say that. The To family, Nelson To family, have forgotten. The people of Nelson To have forgotten. I can't forget what happened to Do. I saw the video last time before coming here. When they butchered Tugboat in pajamas and left him in a pool of blood draining out of his own body. The Kekwamba send the Kehi, didn't they say Sana? They proclaimed the Kehi, and so I said the Kehi. And they took the body to BDC and cut him to pieces. You are talking about score. That score you see was not those score. They were the score probably of one victim that the police just saw on Kawe base. There was war there. Everybody fought war there. And so people should learn to forget this. I said, Yanimbo, look, you are pro-10. God put you here and brought me a senior center, you senior center, they will vote for you to be pro-10. I voted for you against Waterson so that you and I, the both people in government, can help unite the two tribes. Let's bring peace. I gave him the last vote, like Sawyer too. He became pro-tem against Waterson, expecting him to do more. And I was advised by my colleagues to vie for a leadership committee in the Senate to be a chairman. And I said, no, I will leave my fate with Yanimbo. So they said, but you are a security man. A Yanimbo makes you chairman of national security. A few months will not pass, he will remove you when you get settled down. I said, that's what I want to see. And truly enough, he brought a grand jury war and Nimba war back into the Senate. When he got stabilized, he removed me from the chairmanship. I refer to Jackson Doe, Prince Ado, I refer to the superintendent of Grand Jury County. I refer to many people, and they failed to prevail on him. If they did, Yanimbo refused to succumb to their advice. He took 4 committees and gave it to Laha Lasana from Bomi. And maybe chairman, co-chairman, honor Laha. When Laha went to London, he began the coup against Yanimbo to remove him. And they signed the document, many people signed. When Laha came to me and said, Lord, we want to move the pro-tem, sign the paper, I said, bring, I will sign. Hey, you my boss, man. In the army, we are trained to obey, so I will obey you. Bring it. So Laha Lasana brought the paper, I signed, and Laha will remove pro-tem. I could not protect him because he didn't protect me. So I think you understand now. He tried to bring ground to that war because either his uncle or his brother or his father, Arthur Janimbo, were killed in an ambush with Craig Group, as I was explaining earlier. All this is not necessary. The people of Grand Julia, the people of Nimba County must unite for good. If you don't do it, you'll regret, because No one of us will ever take political power in this country. When you want to be a president, become a candidate, the politician will come and say that Gil man there, or don't do the Gil man, be careful of that crime man, or you come here. If I want to be president tomorrow, they will tell the crime president that Prince he will finish you. This is how they will keep us apart. So let us allow the dead to rest in peace. Those who are alive today, let us unite. Let us forge ahead and prepare our political tools, missionaries, to take power one day in this country too. What is good for anybody is good for others. But it must be done democratically. Nobody is better than the other in this country. Your education, we understand many people brought degrees from foreign lands, and they use the CV as a means to deprive people who are clever and gifted. But the only people to determine who become president are the electors. Let us join hands with the president who is against election rigging. I'm glad when she went to Egypt and told the people there that it's a warning for Zimbabwe. What brought trouble to Liberia was a rigged election. And she was giving advice to Zimbabwe that she saw the matter there peacefully. So you see, she's setting this country on course. So your book people, PhD club, there are others too who don't know book like you, but are very smart and can do your job. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your dissertation on that question. Next, was there a link between the MPF of Kuampa and the MPFL of Taylor?
Well, I will differ from that, because Kuampa's MPFL said no blood share. MPFL on Taylor share innocent blood. Jefferson, Gabriel Pole, Taylor MPFL did not want to see any book person. Anybody that get master degree that tell you are the enemy. Not even talk about PhD. If you got PhD, you got master on until that day, he must bring yourself down. He must step on your back. And so they initiated homosexualism, the secret society. So I stopped there. Stop there.
So in essence, they started off together the same, but then the leadership changed the quality of the two.
He had bad leadership principle, bad leadership style. He instituted a situation where many of the colleagues became wives. So you can dominate them. When you talk, you don't talk. John Yomi was not in favor. That's why he made it fit.
Interesting. Okay, thank you. I'll leave it at that for now. Please tell us what you know about the death of the late Dogalia VP, who you said was with you in the jail in Libya. Was that the same Dogalia you were referring to?
Yes, sir.
Mentioned
well, I don't know about how he died. The story regarding how he died, I sometimes read in the newspaper. I was in Nigeria at the time.
Okay.
So I have no idea.
Thank you. But he was the same one that you were talking about earlier?
That's the same one.
Okay.
He was electrocuted and all.
Okay, help us with at least 3 names, if possible, of those you said mentions about a miracle Liberian who assisted with Taylor's release, or those who should know about it. You mentioned about some organization called ACLD or something. I don't know.
That organization was in America, and that consisted of so many people, including Tom Oweyu.
So Woyue was one of them?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So he will be able to help us to know.
He will be the best to explain. He will give more details because he was the political wing leader. And what Taylor did was, we were the military guys, the stupid guys, was are caused by wise men, fought by fools. So we were the military guys they were using to come Udo, then they come and take power. So Taylor now concealed the list of political leaders that he would bring on board if we had succeeded. So Tom Oweyu knew everybody.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So he will tell you everything, because those who could not come to Libya were meeting in Burkina Faso or to Ivory Coast with Tony King. So he got all the records. And many people who will want to hide themselves today for the record for tomorrow, they have some photographs. Because we took so many photographs with some people who were the financiers and all. Because some financiers would pay money, they want their photograph to be brought to Libya so we can know that the good guy who was supporting us, for position. At that time, they didn't know TRC, so all those may eventually come. So your request to extend the tenure of the PRC we can lobby our colleague to make it pass. Because 1 million people to come and hear most story.
Thank you for your support for that. But a question that came to my mind, is there one other person, because this person I think you're talking about is not in the country at the time, right? Is there someone local who could be another reference point for the AAC?
Harry Greaves. Harry Greaves.
Harry Greaves, okay.
Well, strong member of that group.
All
Our
right,
lobbying support to overthrow Doe.
Harry Greaves. Thank you very much. Next, when did you mention about Taylor meeting Sankor in prison?
Yes.
That being the turning point for the regional expansion of this whole problem.
Well, that is how they met.
But could you tell us what year that happened, or month, or even if possible?
That was 1989, almost coming to October. Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's a beginning.
Probably
Okay.
if Taylor had been told to stay by the security to remain at the airport and go back to where he came from, he would not have met Fode Senghor.
I see.
But maybe it was destined for him to meet Fode Senghor, so they rope him in jail where he met this man.
Okay. Next, I'm going to at least begin this question with another Bible quote, just to interest you a bit. Romans 12:17-19 says, "Recompense to no man evil for evil. Provide things honest in the sight of all men. If it is possible, as much as lies in you, live peacefully with all men. Dear beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, said the Lord." As we look into this, think about this chapter, and we look at Liberia's period of suffering, we see so much revenge and anger and repayment of debts and painfulness. As you felt righteous in defending your people against Doe, don't you think Doe felt righteous in defending himself against, sorry for putting it like this, your people in November 1985 during the Kuampa invasion? In hindsight, and as an evangelist, if any attack on your people were to return, do you think this kind of strategy would be the optimal one that we should be using? Or is it that we can now transcend into a new era as we have entered this 21st century?
You mean Doe defended himself because he was under attack?
Well, he may have felt that way in his mind.
Well, there was nothing wrong with Doe defending himself. Even the devil, when he made war with God, and the war started, he was defending himself. He's a remnant to the throne.
Okay.
And God said, no, you're not the right person. He revolted. Go down. They had to fight and were thrown down. So anybody would defend himself because the first law of nature being self-preservation, you won't sit upon and somebody can override you and knock you down. You must do something in defense. But when you defend yourself against your colleague who together with you took power in 1980, I am saying, what happened to the people of Nimba? What did they do? What did Nimbanians do?
Maybe he felt that they betrayed him by coming to have a coup on him in 1985.
No, the good thing to have done was when you crush the rebellion, it is crushed. The poor people in Nimba who got no guns, they will not stop evasion. Then you enter the village where your group now, those villagers out of fear will feed you. Out of fear, they will succumb. They got no choice. And if you left the village and I came in, I should know better that guns carrying men can get a lot from the citizens who are under threat. With all you're asking, they'll begin to give you what you never asked for out of fear. So based upon that, I will not get to the time and say because you were there, you ate food, or you sat there and rested, so I should start through there and kill people. No. But that's what many MPFA boys were doing. When I enter the town and I pass, they will come and kill the people and say that they just want to have a Prince Johnson. I'm your trainer. I'm your battle group commander. I'm your planning officer. The teacher can teach all. You will kill someone to save yourself tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you. My last question in this sense. First of all, two parts to the last question. One, there was an incident that happened. I just want you to please shed light on it. Maybe I'm mistaken, but there was a fellow named one Roosevelt Logan who worked with LEC years back. And there was a rumor of some sort that he may have been killed by either your honorable self or someone in your group.
What did he do?
Well, that's the whole point. He was
Why did
just,
that incident occur?
I can't the exact date. I can't come to a point,
It
but I
cannot
mean
be
the
true.
records just show
It cannot
that.
be true.
Okay.
A bloodthirsty man, if all we were, will not be saving so many lives, so many territories. Now only in Monrovia, sir. Wherever we pass, go to Banga. The other time when we got to Banga, the president and I, on our way from Nimba, and she was to hold a program there, and she introduced her entourage. And when it came to me, when she introduced, no applauses. When she introduced me, the whole place, 10 minutes of applauses. She never knew I was moving there. I'm that popular. I'm that popular because of the work I did in Banga, in Bon County. Everywhere I pass, we did not go hammocking people. We did not.
So you would say then, in essence, that your group basically did not commit
I have no knowledge of
any
that.
acts against the international humanitarian law with regards to innocent killing of civilians?
We did not go killing civilians, children, because on my base I had 6,000 orphan children. And I registered with UNICEF, and when the UNICEF came and we had the registration done, many parents came to the base to claim their children through UNICEF until 3,000 was left. As the 3,000 I turned over to the very UNICEF when I crossed in 1992.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
The politicians, the old breed, they never speak good of people. They call us killers. They attribute things to us that we did not do, that we never were involved in. But I'm glad to be alive, to be here today with the help of all of you who have made this day possible to answer questions and to explain my side. It's not true. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Witness, for coming to share your experience with us and for at least having the opportunity to explain some of what took place during the period under review. I have a few questions, and I hope we'll make it short so that we all can be able to leave on time. My first question is, you said during your explanation that there was a leader of a group of men who were taken to Libya, who was given money to go and recruit, and then he went and opened a supermarket in Freetown. Who was that leader?
He's a Guinean. I don't know his name. But we met those Guineans on the base, and they told us the leader was giving money to go bring more of the colleagues, but they never came back.
Oh, so his men were from Guinea?
They're from Guinea.
Oh, okay. I thought they were Liberian.
No.
Okay, thank you.
The Liberians were abandoned by Joe Wally and Dr. Fambula, and we absorbed them into the MPFL.
Okay. During your time in Libya, did you by any chance meet Gaddafi?
Many times.
Many times.
We did, yes.
And what were some of the things you discussed?
We talk about redemption of Africa, the areas that were still on neo-colonialism. You know, colonialism was dismantled. But the very blacks that advocated change against the colonialists, when they became president, they became neo-colonialists and became oppressor of their own people. Mm-hmm. And Gaddafi believed in freedom as a Pan-Africanist, and he was above religion. We are Christian, but we were giving all the best treatments to come and effect change in our